Alright, we should be back here now. Although I did remember, I probably should have grabbed my headphones so we could have some Zelda music going on in the background while doing this. That would probably be good. So hold up. I'm gonna have to go and grab that. I'm also gonna... Oh, now my YouTube studio has crashed. Hold up. Oh gosh, everything's going downhill. Okay, there we go. Now we got that up. Very cool. Oh, if I do that, then really it... Oh. Ooh, I don't like that. The stupid ads are showing up if I do it that way. But I want to show... But I want to have comments show up. How do I fix this issue? What if I did... Is that better? That could be better. That seems better. And that way, yep, I can see chat. Perfect. Okay, let me go grab my headphones. I'll be right back. Okay, nice and easy. Yo, what's up? Do you have a Switch too? I do, the Enchanter. Yeah, we actually just finished playing Link's Awakening on the Switch 2, and I didn't really have any frame drops, which was great. Really appreciated that, because that was really one of my biggest criticisms of the version that came out on the original Switch. But now that is not really an issue. Alright, so let's go ahead, get some music going while this is happening. Uh-oh, I'm getting an ad.
You need the bearskin tactic.
Okay. Is that coming through? That seems to be coming through. Let me know if the music is too loud or if it's too quiet. So do you have the Zelda Notes thing? The Zelda Notes thing? I am unfamiliar, to be honest with you. What is the Zelda Notes thing? Alright, let's make this look more presentable. Don't want the ads there, but all the other stuff. Okay, how can I make this more presentable? What if I do... Hold up. It's not on the Nintendo Switch app. You can trade items between Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild. Oh, no. I have actually not downloaded the, I have not gotten the, Switch 2 versions of Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild. Just using the, I just did it for, playing the kind of better version of Link's Awakening. You also share item boxes so people can give items. Oh, yo, it's actually pretty clean. I'll have to look into that because I know that they advertised it, but I didn't see too much about it. Hold up, let me go ahead and... Is there like a better way to do this? Hold up. Give me 1 second. We're getting this set up. I'm just gonna make this look better presentation-wise. so let's try this. See how this works. Oh gosh. Ah! Okay, now I'm gone. That's not optimal. Okay, again, still not necessarily what I had in mind, but we're getting closer. That's... There we go, look at that. That looks better. Okay. Anthony, how you doing today? What capture card do you have, and do you have any recommendations for cheap capture cards like $30? I personally use an Elgato, what is mine, S Plus? Yes, I have an Elgato 60 S Plus. I got mine a couple years ago. I don't know if you find, I mean, that one's probably going to be a little bit more expensive. Unfortunately, I don't really know too many that are $30 or less. But I kind of started by using an Elgato HD that my friend let me borrow, like, back in 2019. And I still use that because I can use that to get PS3 footage. But this is what I use for pretty much everything else. I didn't see my GOAT, Nell Sonic, Game & Watch on that list. Can't believe you're lacking like this guy. I'm sorry. Link to the Past #1. Oh, Mazer, just wait. Okay, so, I'm gonna go ahead and start off this tier list by saying, you know, the obligatory, this is just my opinion. Actually, no, you know what? Screw it. No, this is objective. This is everybody's opinion. If you disagree with this in the chat, you're wrong. Leave. It's not actually true. But we're gonna rank these games, and if you disagree with this, then yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Tingle's Balloon Fight, S tier. You don't like it? I don't care. You're wrong. I have not legitimately sat down and played any of the Tingle games, but I have to give props to, I think it's Rosie Rupee Land, because this game is just the Wizard of Oz. But, like, with Tingle, it's really weird. We're gonna buy like a $220 generic one off Amazon because anyway I'm paying for like $300 capture card. I mean, I definitely would say, like, at least for mine, I didn't pay $300 for mine. I think mine was like a little over 100, but maybe it was like 150 or something. The investment, I mean, I definitely have gotten my money's worth out of it, but I can totally understand wanting to just get a cheaper one too. Okay, so we're gonna go in order here. Simply off of the merit that, like, if I just go and just throw games in the S tier, like, you know, that's just kind of boring. You know, like, you guys probably already have a sense for what I would put into S tier if you know, like, what I like and such. But, yeah, we're just gonna do this for the sake of keeping it a little bit more interesting. Starting with The Legend of Zelda, the game that started all. This game is not bad. But I wouldn't say it's amazing. I wouldn't even say it's great, to be honest with you. But for what it was at the time, I think it's a good game. That being said, something else that I consider with my game tier list is a lot of people will be like, it was the first one that started off, it kicked it off, you gotta give it props for that. No, I don't do that, right? I look at it within the grand scheme of things and compared to all the other games. So, just because The Legend of Zelda started the whole thing off, I'm not going to put it in A or B tier. I think it's a C tier game. Would I sit down and play the original Legend of Zelda? Yeah, I would. But, like, there's a lot of other games on this list that I would prefer to play. I think the thing about Zelda 1 is Zelda 1 doesn't really do anything necessarily bad, but it doesn't really have the sauce. I like it. What I mean by that, oh my gosh. Okay, I'm not sure about you guys, but just Ballad of the Goddess just got really loud in my ear for a second. Okay. Oh, I'm making it louder. I'm turning it down. Okay. Sorry. That That just got really loud for a second there. So yeah, I don't know. Zelda 1 just, it's fine. It's a good game. I give it a C tier. I think Zelda is a series that is very consistent. It's very good. There are very few, if really any, games that I could objectively say are bad. And we're gonna go ahead and move into the game that I actually would consider to be not that good. Zelda 2. They tried something. I'm not necessarily gonna say that it succeeded, but they tried something. Zelda 2, you know, sometimes I get this weird hankering where I'm like, you know what? I want to play Zelda 2. But that doesn't happen very often. And the amount of times that I actually follow up on that, I can think of maybe once or twice. Zelda 2 has a lot of very strange things going on into it, including a very, I don't want to say strange again because I've already said that, but just a very interesting level curve where it gets really difficult at around the 3rd dungeon, and then it gets easier, and then it gets really hard again, where it should at the end. The game is fairly cryptic. I would even argue more cryptic than Zelda 1 in some places. And I don't know. I love side scrollers, but I don't necessarily think that Zelda works the best as a full-on side scroller. So it's either top of D or like bottom of C. I'm gonna go here for now. And this seems really harsh to start off my Zelda tier list, in that I just put 2 games in C and D tier for my favorite series of all time. But it's gonna get better, I promise. OG NES Zelda is amazing and aged poorly. I could see that. I could see that. I don't even think it's necessarily aged like... I definitely think for the time the game was remarkable for doing a lot of things. But yeah, I guess in terms of like aging poorly, it's not necessarily like the control or anything like that. It's just that it doesn't really have anything stand out to me. You know, all the dungeons kind of having a very similar identity doesn't do much for me, when I think that Zelda dungeons are what I heavily weigh in Zelda games, and so that's going to influence a lot of my tier lists, as you're going to see. Clearly, Link's crossbow training is going to be K's number 1, with the one exception, the game that doesn't have dungeons, Link's crossbow training. Let's put it up in the S tier. Let's just go ahead and do it. If E had their way, that's what they would do. But this is going to be my tier list. Okay, A Link to the Past. Back in the day, it was either you were a Link to the Past, you were a Link to the Past fan, or you were an Ocarina of Time fan. That was it. Those two were fighting with each other. They'd argue, right? I think probably spurred on a little bit by like sequelitis and everything of the sorts. And A Link to the Past, I like this game. This is a good game. I'd play A Link to the Past again. But I'm also not a lover of A Link to the Past. It never grabbed me. Like, you know, it's not one of those games where it's just like, I want to keep revisiting it over and over again. But it does a lot of stuff really well. The inventory is way more expansive. It's got a lot of cool stuff in there. I feel like the game does a good job of balancing, okay, there's good secrets and stuff to solve, but it never feels super cryptic. Dungeons take on more of their own unique identity. There's a little bit of an asterisk there. We'll get to that. And just overall, it feels like it's trying to tell a more compelling story. The world feels more... in a lot of ways, A Link to the Past, like a lot of Super Nintendo games, feels like a very enhanced version of its NES counterpart. Super Metroid feels like a very souped-up version of the original Zelda game. A Link to the Past feels like a very souped-up version of this, and Super Mario World feels like a very, you know, buffed-up version of Mario Brothers. But I would say A Link to the Past for me is B tier. Now, a couple of reasons. Like I said, it never really grabbed me. But there are the things that I like. Some of the things that I'm not the most keen on in A Link to the Past, and I don't necessarily think that they're like huge strikes against it, but it's just not my preference. The dungeons do have more of an identity, but still a lot of them lack really strong individual presences, or individual presence. And unfortunately, that is a result of a lot of them sharing the same theme. But I do like, was it Thieves Guild? Thieves Guild is cool. And whatever the one in the marsh or the swamp is, I like that one too, but I can't really remember the name. But then there's like Ice Palace, I think, what, Tower of Hera? There's Turtle Rock in that one, but I can't remember a ton of, like, I remember Tower of Hera, because that one has Moldorm, and I hate Moldorm, but some of them, to me, just lack stronger identity. I do like Agamemnon. I think that's cool that you throw in a crazy wizard dude. And then again, he's like, haha, it's actually me, I'm Ganon. And something about Link's sword swing in this game is a very, very nitpick. It just, the way that it kind of covers the range, I feel like I get messed up in this game. I died a lot. Mazer and I actually played through this game together. I remember we got stuck on Death Mountain for an hour trying to get off the summit. I had a really fun time playing for the game. But I think for me it's B tier. I think it's high B. Like probably the top of B is where I would put A Link to the Past. Now, Link's Awakening. We just streamed this game. We just played it. This is probably S tier for me. This is low S tier. But this is an S tier game for me. Mazer. A tier what? B? Sorry. I gotta head out. Hopefully be back from streaming. Hey, take care, Anthony. Have a good one. Also, Link to the Past is a kart racing spin-off. It sounds like the next Fast and the Furious movie. I kind of gave my spiel in the Link's Awakening credits about why I like this game already, so I'm not gonna say that much. Quirky world, it has some character. I feel like some strikes against Link's Awakening that I will say is that the bosses are really easy, and the bosses feel very bland. It's like, ooh, is it anglerfish? And ooh, his name's Facade, and he's a face on the ground, and you gotta bomb him. It's, you know, that's kind of boring. I think the dungeons in this game are good. I actually think I like, as far as 2D overhead Zelda dungeons go, I like these more than the Link to the Past dungeons. I like Koholint as a world. I think it's very interesting. And I like that it's, to me, it's always been a quicker Zelda game. I always appreciated that. So I go S tier. Top of S. Maybe low A, and maybe high A, highest of A, but I'm thinking low S right now. Now, Ocarina of Time. Y'all gonna call me basic? Y'all gonna call me vanilla? You can call me a basic bitch. But goddamn, that's a good video game. That's a good video. I own 7 copies of this game. 7. I think it's 7. It's either 7 or 6. Regardless, I own an absurd amount of copies of Ocarina of Time. I adore this game. I think that the soundtrack is one of the best in the entire series. I think that the narrative really tries to kick it up a little bit of a notch. And am I playing a Zelda game for its narrative? Not really. But I think it's solid despite how simple it is. I think that the dungeons, yes, they do hit the generic kind of archetypes of water, fire, grass, so on and so forth. But like I was saying with the previous games, this is where I feel like Zelda dungeons really started to take on their own unique identity, and within the world feel like there's some history and some lore to them that stand out. Like, Link's Awakening, yeah, you know, the dungeons had unique themes, but let's be honest, even Angler's Tunnel just had a sped up version of the dungeon theme, like, or like the cave theme. But Ocarina of Time, no, every dungeon song has got to be a banger. Every single one's got to feel unique. So I really appreciate that. I don't think out of the major temples, there's not a single bad major temple in this game. I know y'all are saying the water temple sucks. I think you're wrong. I think the water dungeon, the water temple is excellent. I think it's really good. I think it's an A-tier dungeon. That's my take. That may be a hot take. But when I finish that script talking about why the water temple is good. But yeah, I like the time system. Could they have gone a little bit more with like, oh gosh, in the future everything is worse? Yeah, they certainly could have. Hyrule Field probably could have had more changes to it to really bring it together. And is the aiming whack? Yeah, the aiming is a little bit whack in the N64 version, but it's completely fixed in the 3DS version. The 3DS version is just like the optimal way to play this game. I really like this. I really like this game. And I keep coming back to it. I've been in this game, I think 17 times was the number I last ended off with. It's a good video game. I only played Water Temple on the 3DS. I loved it. People who hated it are bad at puzzles or played the 64 version. Yeah, and I'm like, listen, I understand that the 64 version isn't as clear-cut on some things, like the hole that opens up underneath the block in the central tower, and the iron boots in the menu. Like, I understand that stuff kind of sucks, right? But I think that the reputation of the Water Temple was heavily exaggerated by early internet forums and posts, and just people being like, Water Temple sucks, lol. Here's my meme with impact font on the top and impact font on the bottom. It's really not that bad. It's got great atmosphere. Like, my one gripe with the Water Temple is that there's a dragon motif going on in the entire temple, and then you fight an amoeba at the end. And I'm cool with a subversion of expectations, but I feel like, honestly, and this is weird, I honestly would have retooled Volvagia to be for the Water Temple and had something else for the Fire Temple. And I think that would have fit the motif more and would have led to the build-up being really cool and being like, oh shoot, all of these statues in here are in honor of this water dragon or something like that. I know technically that, like, a lot of it's supposed to be that all of the, like, well, no, not even necessarily, because Bongo Bongo has been around for a while, but, like, I was gonna say they're created by Ganondorf, but that's not even true. Yeah, Water Temple's good. People need to stop hating. You criminal. Did you just put Zelda 2 in D tier? I did. It's maybe low C or high D. It's one of those two. We will reassess when I put other games on the tier list. Majora's Mask. You guys, if you know me, you know how I feel about Majora's Mask. Hold on. I'm sorry. I don't make the rules. I don't make the rules. Majora's Mask, when you look at the whole game and just what it's trying to accomplish, is S tier, baby. Oh my god, it's amazing. It's a perfect I love Majora's Mask. This game is so good. This and Ocarina of Time, to me, are my two favorite games of all time. It really just depends on the day of the week which one I prefer. When I found that randomizer that combined Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask together, that was like a dream come true to me. Majora's Mask does, and honestly builds off of a lot of what makes Ocarina of Time good. So Ocarina of Time introduces your very standard fire, water, grass, dungeons and temples, which is fine. Again, I'm okay with that. But Majora's Mask takes it a little bit in a more interesting direction. You have a swamp, or kind of like a jungle. You have an icy mountain to kind of make up for the fact that we didn't really get an ice dungeon, like a full ice dungeon in Ocarina of Time. You get a canyon dungeon, which is a little bit different than the desert kind of one that they went for, and then you get more of an ocean instead of more of a lake-themed one. So it's taking the same archetypes, but it's pushing them in slightly different directions. It's exploring that biome or that general, again, archetype more. And I like that. It's not just reduxing the same thing. A lot of people for Majora's Mask will get filtered by the time mechanic. I personally adore the time mechanic. I think it's part of what makes the game so good. It's like a weird. It's a game that can kind of make you feel a little stressed, but it's like a good kind of stress. And I normally hate to have this opinion as well. But Majora's Mask is a game that you enjoy more after a first playthrough where you kind of know where stuff is, and you can consider routes and the best pathing as opposed to looking at a guidebook and trying to figure out what even is out there as an option. And I really do hate the making an argument that a game is technically better after a first playthrough. I think that a game should be enjoyable on its first playthrough, and I do think Majora's Mask is. But I think that it just gets better with time, and you come to appreciate it more. The world is fun. It's unique. I like it when Zelda takes me to a place that's not Hyrule. Not that I don't like Hyrule, but I just think that the change of pace is refreshing. Also has one of the best Zelda soundtracks. I could sing this game's praises all day. That means he has to rank the CDI games in the same tier as Zelda 2 or higher. The CDI games are nowhere near Zelda 2. Zelda 2 doesn't even have Morshu. Yeah, you know what? That's true. Hold up. Let's change this to Morshu tier. Moro? No, Morshu. Hold up. Okay, I can't. I'm gonna put it below. I can't do that seriously. Okay, the Oracle games. Oracle Seasons and Oracle of Ages. This is tough, because I actually like both of these games a lot, but I haven't played Oracle of Seasons in a long time. Oracle of Ages can be a very tricky game, and it does have, in my opinion, the worst dungeon in the entire Zelda series. Does that bring down the whole package? Not necessarily, but it does make me upset. I think, to me, they are B-tier games. I'm trying to think whether I would put it... I don't think it's above A Link to the Past. Even though I think I appreciate them more than A Link to the Past, I really like this game's, like... I'm trying to separate the game from the promotional art and stuff. I think the promotional art Link for this game, or for these games, is actually one of my favorite Link designs. I adore this Link. They look really good. And like the Zelda design is really good. All the characters look phenomenal. And I think, again, taking us to 2 new regions with Holodrum and... Oh gosh, what's the other one? It's not Lanayru, it's like Labyrintha? Something like that. Cool settings. And there's a freaking kangaroo that can punch stuff. That's hype. Don't get to play mini games where I get to play as Kangaroo Jack. Okay. 4 Swords. Like, can I even rank this? Can I rank 4 Swords? I don't know. Like, 4 Swords is just... It's a nice little fun expansion, but it's not really much than that. I think it's like C tier. It's fine. But, like I said, it's not really much more than just a little expansion. Wind Waker... So my brother has an opinion on Wind Waker. He believes that Wind Waker is the worst 3D Zelda game. I have argued with him a lot on that, because I really love Wind Waker. It's not Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time level, but it's close. It's really close. It's a really good game. I think with the Zelda remakes, it's kind of a hit or miss experience. I think Ocarina of Time 3D is better than the original. I think Majora's Mask 3D is worse than the original. Wind Waker HD is better than the original. So we're kind of going back and forth here. But Wind Waker HD gets rid of a lot of the garbage from the original in terms of pacing issues near the end of the game with the Triforce quest. Also gets rid of some of the tedium with having to replay the songs and, you know, re-see the animation and everything. It understands how much little small time saves can be. The game has a lot of bloom. I don't think it looks bad. I actually think it kind of works for it. Yeah, it could be a little excessive at times, but it's not that big of an issue. Wind Waker's art style is just aged incredibly well, and I don't think that it is going to ever age poorly just by the very nature of it. It is in my top 5 Zelda games. I think the dungeons are fun. I wish there were more of them. I like the Wind Temple a lot. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of hard to put more into Wind Waker. I just think it's a solid experience. I like the direction Ganondorf takes in it. It's fun. It's got a good identity to it. Four Swords Adventures. Now, if you can get people to play with, this game is both a pain in the ass and really fun. I played a bit of it with my college roommate when we both had it, but I feel like I gotta dock points because the way to actually play multiplayer in this game is heinous. That you have to have the Game Boy Advance connectors. Who has those? Except for me and my college roommate. Who has those? But it's fun. I'd actually put it maybe slightly above the original Zelda. I think you could convince me to play Four Swords Adventures in this current moment more than you could play the original Zelda. The only reason I'd want to play the original Zelda over it is just because it's a shorter experience. But I don't really have that much more to say on Four Swords Adventures. It's not necessarily that remarkable, but it's fun. Minish Cap. I like Minish Cap. It's a fun game. I replayed it recently. I went for the 100%. I think I just came up just short of it because of like 99%, and I think I just needed to beat the final boss or something like that. I like Minish Cap. Now, I know some people that are massive Minish Cap fans. Like, Minish Cap is their favorite Zelda game. And I'm like, whoa. That's not an opinion you hear very often. But it's fun. It's a new, interesting take on Hyrule. I think introducing Vati is pretty fun as a villain. Even if he feels a little bit minor in the grand scheme of things. A Four Swords Adventure kind of tosses him aside for Ganon at the end. And like the weakest Ganon, he's like this mindless brute. But it's fun. I like the world. Just the idea of fighting regular enemies, but they're like bosses because they're massive now, is really neat. I like Minish Cap. I got to this game a little bit later though in life. Twilight Princess. You're probably noticing a theme with the 3D Zelda games, because I really like Twilight Princess. I really like Twilight Princess. This is top 3 for me. Maybe, depending on the day, I could like Wind Waker more. But Twilight Princess, I know that it received a lot of criticism back in the day for just kind of being like another version of Ocarina of Time. What's so bad about that? What's so bad about that? Ocarina of Time's a good game. Give me some more of that. And yes, it does have some similar stuff to Ocarina of Time, but it very much has its own identity. It's trying to go for a little bit more of like playing into that 2000s, like kind of like, I don't want to say edgier, but kind of like rougher with the art style and just like the color grading and everything. Dungeons are fun and cool. I like the bosses. I mean, Twilight Princess debatably has the best dungeons in the entire series. If you ask most people, they would probably say it does. Arbiter's Ground is fantastic. City in the Sky is a very cool idea. I really like the Temple of Time. I think that actually may be one of the weaker ones in the game, though, just because the music is also really repetitive. Everybody really likes the Ice Mansion. I'm drawing a blank on what is called Old Chateau or something. But that's a really cool one. Yeah, this game's got great dungeons. Sorry, I got dead by Promise of Friend. I'll be at a show. Dude, this game is not S tier. You'll be hearing from my legal team. Have fun with your friend, dude. Take care. But yeah, Twilight Princess, I one of the criticisms it gets is the open world is a little bit barren. Ocarina of Time gets that too, but Ocarina of Time is honestly a lot smaller than Twilight Princess is. Soundtrack is really great in this game. I like Midna. Actually, I love Midna. Midna's great. Probably the best companion character in the entire Zelda series. Also, people need to stop hating on Navi, okay? The internet forums of hating on Navi. Navi is not that bad. I promise you. Yeah, Twilight Princess is a good game. I like the Link too. Just comes from, very much like Ocarina of Time, comes from humble beginnings. Just a dude who's a farmer. He just wants to be there for his friends, and he's dragged into this crazy world that's way beyond his pay grade. But he just does it because he's that cool guy, right? There's also this is a buff Link, and he wrestles with Gorons, and that's kind of sick. Phantom Hourglass. I have not played Phantom Hourglass in a long time. I watched a Meals Let's Play of it within the last couple years. Phantom Hourglass. I love Linebeck. I actually don't mind Bellum either. I think there's some interesting things going on in this game. I like the ghost ship, how it has a more increased role, even if it is a bit of a retcon. There's some cool stuff in this game, but I personally, and maybe this is me being a baby and complaining, I just have never really clicked that much with the stylus-controlled DS games. Or the stylus-controlled Zelda games. And I don't remember a ton of, like, the dungeons or anything from this game. So, honestly, I can maybe put him on the bottom of C. Maybe above Four Swords. Yeah, I mean, Four Swords is less offensive, but it's not doing anything really that unique. Spirit Tracks. Now, I used to be higher up on Spirit Tracks. I used to be like I think Spirit Tracks does some more unique stuff. It's got a freaking train, dude. That's cool. And Zelda is in the Phantom Armor. That's pretty nice. And it improved upon the Temple of the Ocean King. By the way, Temple of the Ocean King is the other reason why this game is so low. Because Temple of the Ocean King, great idea, but goddamn, I hate it. I really do not like Temple of the Ocean King. It's very frustrating. It got super cool premise. I like the idea that you kind of go deeper and deeper into this place. And yeah, you have to start from the beginning and redo some stuff. But it is kind of cool. I just think that if it got sped up, like if the earlier floors were sped up by new equipment more than they previously, like I know that it is a little bit, but if it was done more, increased more, I think that it would be better. Like I said, it's been a while since I played this game, but Spirit Tracks. Oh god, do I like Zelda 1 more than I like Spirit Tracks? Spirit Tracks does some good stuff though. I'm gonna put it there. That could change, honestly. I feel like it's hard to rank Spirit Tracks because this one I haven't really watched the Let's Play of, and I haven't played in so long. I remember some of the items. But yeah. I don't know. I feel very separated from this game. Okay. Skyward Sword. Now, my brother has the opinion that Ocarina of Time, Wind Waker, is the worst 3D Zelda game. My opinion was that Skyward Sword is the worst 3D Zelda game. But I still like Skyward Sword quite a lot. I just have a lot of gripes with this game. But I think it's low A or high B. It's one of those two. Skyward Sword has a lot of cool stuff going for it. It's got some great dungeons. It probably has the best story in a Zelda game. Groose is phenomenal. We love Groose. I remember also when Breath of the Wild was coming out, everyone's like, yo, Skyward Sword Zelda, move over. We got the new one. And it's like, no, actually, Skyward Sword Zelda is actually just better. It's just better. Yeah, Skyward Sword, what else do I really like about it? The soundtrack is fun. I like that. I think just the way that everything wraps up is really nice, too. Some of the bosses are fun. The motion controls in this game don't bother me as much as the stylus does. But also, what they did with Skyward Sword HD was really good, where you can kind of play it like Metal Gear Rising, where like flicking the stick like just swings the sword in the direction you flick it. And that's nice. I like that. I was a big fan. So that helped with my enjoyment of the game too. Now my issues with Skyward Sword and why I do think it is the worst. I think this game unfortunately suffers from repetition a little bit too much and tries to do too much with its areas. I don't necessarily have, like I said, I don't have a problem with the idea of going back to an area and there's more to it than you saw previously. I mean, Ocarina of Time does that. You know, you go to Zora's Domain and, oh, here we go, you're in the ice cavern now. Or you go to Death Mountain and it's like, oh, okay, wow, the fire temple is in the volcano that you previously stepped in for like 10 seconds in. I bet that's cool. But Skyward Sword revisits too much. So for example, you go there, you'll start in, let's say, and you go to like it's not called the Forest Temple. It's like Skyview Temple. So you go to Skyview Temple in the Faron region, I believe it is. And that's fine. That's your introduction one. And then you go back for Ancient Cistern. Okay, that's fine. We're seeing a new perspective of this area. But then you go back a third time to do swimming lessons. And I'm like, do we really need to do this? And that, unfortunately, kind of happens a bit. There's like a stealth section in Eldin. And then you also like sometimes are going back to the area that takes stuff back up into the sky. Like you go into Eldin to go get like this one tool or this one bolt or something like that to take it back up into the sky. I just wish that there were more unique areas. And I wish that some of that stuff was in the sky. I know that a lot of the fun is the dungeons on the ground, but doing some more stuff like the final dungeon on Skyloft, where you have a dungeon in the sky, would be kind of interesting. You could have played around a little bit with that. Flying to me isn't also as fun, or okay, well, I won't even say like being on the sea in Wind Waker is necessarily fun. You're going in a straight line, but I think because strangely it's more involved. Normally I would say more involved gameplay is a good thing, but I think the flying always was just a little cumbersome to me, a little bit. It's not bad, but it's just like it doesn't exactly inspire joy. It's just kind of moving in a straight line with extra steps. A Link Between Worlds. Now, I said that I wasn't really that big on A Link to the Past as much as some other people, but I actually remember liking A Link Between Worlds a lot. I guess I'd put it there. But I remember quite enjoying this game. Music's good. I like Yuga. Oh yeah, Skyward Sword also has Girahim. Forgot to mention that. Girahim is amazing, one of the best Zelda villains. But Yuga's pretty cool too. I really like the wall, like, painting puzzles and style going on there. I like bringing back the Dark World. And yes, it is a Link to the Past, but it does feel fresh. It does feel like the Link, you know, it feels like a Link to the Past 2, which I think is what it's called in Japan. I don't remember a ton of the dungeons, but I remember some of the music, like sneaking around in the Skull Forest maze and such. That was cool. I remember being like, oh, you can go ahead and upgrade your sword by getting like this obsidian and such. This was where I think we started to see the venture into more Breath of the Wild style, where like items were becoming less unique to dungeons, and we're kind of breaking away from the Zelda formula a bit. But it's still, even though you can kind of customize the direction you go, dungeons still feel good. They still have their identity, which is great. Triforce Heroes. This honestly is maybe the worst Zelda game, in my opinion. When you get 3 people, it can be fun. But trying to get 3 people to play it, especially on Nintendo Wi-Fi, is really not fun. Especially if you only have 2 people and you get a random 3rd person who is just messing with you the entire time. It does not lead to a fun experience. Costumes are goofy. Costumes are fun. It's kind of weird, though, that this game takes on some, like... It takes on some, like, MMO, like, collecting mat kind of ideas, where you get a random, or you get, like, certain materials at the end of a dungeon or a level, and it's like, oh, well, you can use these in order to get costumes, but it's just kind of strange. This is the only Zelda game, too, that I have not, aside from, like, you know, the Tingle games and the CDI games, it's the only Zelda game... Oh, I guess actually Kings of Hyrule, too. Oh, okay. One of only 2 Zelda games that I have not beaten. I just have not felt incentivized to want to go back and play it by myself. Breath of the Wild. If you've heard me talk about Breath of the Wild a lot, you've heard me complain about this game a lot, you've heard me talk about things that I take issue with in this game. I think that the dungeon designs really... they're lacking, and this is where I'm starting to see this trend of dungeons losing their identity, which I really, really hate. I think that the enemy variety could be very much increased in this game as well. And I do miss some of the stronger melodies in some of the areas and such from previous Zelda games, even though there are some strong songs in this game. Hyrule Castle, the Assault on Vah Ruta, and on Vah Naboris. Very good songs. But despite all that, I do like Breath of the Wild quite a bit. I just give it a lot of grief because I think for a lot of people, Breath of the Wild is here. And I don't think it is. I think it's just missing a good amount of stuff that keeps it from being up there. And, like, I'm not going to go and say it's not a Zelda game. I don't think that's necessarily true. But it's just missing a lot of stuff that makes Zelda games their best, in my personal opinion. I've also realized by going through this, we've already kind of created our top 5 here. Our top 5 really isn't going to shift, and that's just kind of how it is. Tears of the Kingdom. When this game first came out, I said Tears of the Kingdom was just a better A Link to the Past. And oh my god, Link to the Past is completely different games. I said it was just a better version of Breath of the Wild. I have come to realize that I don't necessarily believe that. I think that Tears of the Kingdom does a lot of stuff better than Breath of the Wild. I think the dungeons are certainly an improvement. I think having more unique dungeon bosses is also excellent. And you can refight them. I've always appreciated Zelda games giving me the option to do that. Something like Majora's Mask or even Wind Waker. I think some of the shrines are really cool. The building for the shrines is nice. And more enemy variety is great. But at the same time, I think they could have pushed enemy variety even further. I don't like how the dungeons are all centered around these stupid terminals. I wish they just made... Like, there's small keys in the shrines. Use them, please. I don't want to deal with terminals anymore. I don't. I'm done with the Zonai stuff. I'm done with the Sheikah stuff. I need a break. And I think that a lot of shrines in this game are more based around, again, your tool belt of being able to create stuff, and they're more action-based compared to Tears of the Kingdoms, Breath of the Wilds, that are more puzzle-oriented. So there's a bit of give and a bit of take. I think that the Ganon fight in this game is awesome. It's really cool. It's got great music, and I think this game has a sick finale. I also think this game's story is really horribly told. I think this may be one of the weakest presentations of a Zelda game story I have ever seen. And that just comes down to them trying to cater to all forms of play and giving them the story. And so, because again, you can do the dungeons in any order, you know, I don't even want to say that it's... Because there is a way that they could have done it. So let's say hypothetically that I went and I did the Wind Temple first. I get my cutscene finding out about the Imprison You More and everything like that. Then what happens is if I go to the Fire Temple, then I hear my second piece of dialogue that talks more about the situation, but it's different information. It's not just the same cutscene narrated by a different person, which is what they ended up doing in the final version. Now, obviously, this would have required a lot more voice lines to be recorded and some extra writing in the script in order to be like, oh, okay, there are all these different permutations depending on the order you do. But, like, there are games that have tackled dialogue paths way more ambitious. I certainly think they could have done that, instead of just giving us the same dialogue depending on which one you pick. And even the Dragon's Tears can spoil some information from going through the dungeons, or, you know, or if you stumble across the Master Sword to do other stuff, it'll spoil stuff for the Dragon's Tears, so on and so forth. It's, again, because they tried to say, well, if you do exploration, you can get story, but if you go do the Dragon's Tears, you can get story, and if you do the dungeons, you get story no matter which direction. And it's just, they really, the script really could have gone through a couple reworks in order to better cater the exploration gameplay. I unfortunately really haven't played a ton of like full open world games that have really solid stories, and I haven't played like Red Dead Redemption, and I don't have a ton of experience of GTA and just like Rockstar games. But like that's just kind of a constant thing that I felt like I was kind of let down by games of open world stories, especially back in 2015 with Metal Gear Solid V and Xenoblade Chronicles X. And then Tears of the Kingdom was kind of just, you know, just further... I mean, even Breath of the Wild before that was kind of further building on it. So I'm giving Tears of the Kingdom a lot of crap here. But there's still a lot of stuff that I really like about this game too. I think it's here. I think it and Breath of the Wild are around the same area. But I think, strangely enough, and again, I know that I say that I don't really give props to a game for being like the original one to do it, but I think I'm more so okay with giving a game props for maybe not kicking off the series, but at least like establishing the setting and everything, because Tears of the Kingdom using the same Hyrule also, it doesn't really sit right with me. This is such a hard game to rank, because honestly, it's also like this thing where I could see it dropping on like all the way down here, down at the B, but at the same time, it has good stuff going for it. I don't know. Tears of the Kingdom is such a hard game to rank. I really don't know where to put it, to be honest with you. Echoes of Wisdom. Now, I really liked Echoes of Wisdom. Quite like this game. I think as far as 2D Zelda games go, this is up there as one of my favorites. Now, is it perfect? No, I think that some of the combat stuff is a little awkward. Bed is broken. Actually, no, Water Block is broken. Bed is broken early game, but Water Block is stupid dumb. It's really incredible. Also, the Elden Temple theme in this game goes crazy. It is so good. Some of the build-up towards the end, I don't think was as strong as it could have been. But I like this game quite a bit. I think I'd put it here. I think Echoes of Wisdom is around A Link to the Past Oracle Seasons tier for me. I'm realizing this is kind of a lot of like top-down 2D Zeldas, but yeah. Link's Awakening Remake, I mean, I'd put it where it's hard because it's just the same thing as Link's Awakening for me. So we're just gonna skip Link's Awakening Remake, and we're just gonna consider it as just Link's Awakening. Link's Crossbow Training. What the hell do I rank this game? For what it is, it's fine, but it's like... It's fine. I don't know. It's just... Put it here? It's not bad. It's not a bad game. Honestly, I may be more incentivized to want to play it over Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks just because I can pump it out in like 30 minutes or something. Okay, Hyrule Warriors. This game's soundtrack is fucking incredible. This is the top 5 Zelda game soundtrack. Like, this game, oh my gosh. Silent Guardians, Focal Line. What else do we have? The Skyloft version of this. Eclipse of the Moon, Eclipse of the Sun, Eclipse of the World. All the Eclipses are so good. This game's soundtrack is incredible. Go listen to Hyrule Warrior soundtrack if you have not. The Zelda's Lullaby rendition in that game is fantastic. I cannot sing this game's soundtrack praises highly enough. And I think that the character designs are all so baller. They're so good. Like, they're some of the best looking that these characters have seen. I actually think that the Zelda design is like the one design that I'm not keen on. But like the Impa design, the Sheik design, the Link design, they're all really good. And they brought Marin back. Oh my god. This game is just fan service central. So why am I not putting this higher up despite how much I'm singing its praises? I don't like the gameplay that much. It's fine. It's just really repetitive, and I'm not a big warrior-style gameplay guy. So... yeah, I think I put it there. Now, Cadence of Hyrule, we're just going to jump ahead. Because I have not played Cadence of Hyrule. It's the one Zelda game that I just have not played. Straight up. Finally, that leaves Age of Calamity, because well, I guess technically I haven't played the Tingle games, or I've played the CDI games, but am I really going to rank them? Not really, no. I can't rank the Tingle games, though. Age of Calamity. Gameplay-wise, it's better than Hyrule Warriors, but this... again, we're delving more into the Breath of the Wild universe, which I'm a little sick and tired of. And also, the story is really not good. There? I'm noticing I have a lot in C tier. Whoa, Kevin, crossbow training is an S tier? You gotta squint. That is S. Let me change these. Top 5. I'm gonna make that amazing. Great stuff. Or maybe, no, we made that. They were pretty good. We're gonna make this amazing. Honor Thanatos. I'm gonna make this solid. No, we're gonna make a new tier actually. We're gonna make a new tier. Maybe I'm adding too many tiers onto this tier list. But this is my tier list. I'm gonna call this It's Fine. This is the It's Fine tier. I'm gonna call this Not a Fan. Alright, and that is my tier list. Top 5, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, and Link's Awakening. The Amazing tier, Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, Skyward Sword, Link Between Worlds. You're pretty good. Echoes of Wisdom, A Link to the Past, Oracle of Ages and Seasons, and Minish Cap. Solid, Four Swords Adventures, Legend of Zelda, Hyrule Warriors, Spear Tracks. It's Fine. Phantom Hourglass, Age of Calamity, Four Swords, and Link's Crossbow Training. And then finally, Not a Fan. Adventures of Link and Triforce Heroes. Haven't played, Cadence of Hyrule. And I think that's a good place to go ahead and end my tier list. I'll go ahead and download this as well. I'm going to go ahead and start getting ready to wrap up stream here, simply just because I have to be up really early tomorrow to go drive for our school's class trip. I'm driving separately because I have to come back and get ready to fly out for a wedding. So I am not a morning person, and I'm going to be very, very sleepy. But again, I wanted to make sure that I streamed the end of Link's Awakening and cross that off, and figured I'd just add this on here to kind of give you guys a little bit more content for the stream instead of just a really, really short one. But I'll be back next week with the next game we're going to stream. Probably going to be Batman Arkham City at that point. Maybe something else, unless something comes up. But yeah, thank y'all for tuning into the stream, hanging out. Hope you all enjoyed just chilling. And I will catch you for the next one. Peace out, y'all.